amazing to have you on the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We see each other at events all the time, and I'm like, who is he? Where did he come from? I know what he does. So I haven't interviewed another journalist in a while. So why don't we start from the beginning? Because I always like to hear where people came from and how they got where they did.
Sure. Where do you want me to start from?
I don't know. Where were you born?
I was born in Ascot because we used to live between Maidenhead and Slough. And I'm pretty sure my mother chose that hospital so it wouldn't be on my passport that I was born in Slough. So, and after that, I've spent most of my time being brought up in Berkshire. So, with a little stint in Bournemouth. And then I've been in London, I don't know, probably since I was 19, 20.
So you were kind of a country lad before.
I guess you can say that. Have you seen Berkshire recently? Have you seen Reading or neighbouring bits? I wouldn't call it the country, but
Well, Ascot,
hopefully,
there are horses around, so I'm kind of
yeah.
going with that.
I should dress more equestrian, shouldn't I? But
So what led you to the big city?
well, I always used to go to London. Again, Reading's not too far away. I have a lot of family here. My brother studied here, so I used to stay with him a lot. I didn't study originally in London. I studied in Essex, but I always used to come here on the weekends, and you always used to go to the bars on the weekends as well.
I-
And I even though I wasn't studying here, I still counted as living here, if that makes any sense, because I was always here anyway if I wasn't at uni. And I just sort of stayed here, despite all the job opportunities being elsewhere. I always came back.
Well, London is London. Now, what were you studying?
Oh, this is so. Some people know this, but I try not to say it because they think that I have limitless funds, and they're very limited. So I studied biomedical sciences as my undergrad,
Ooh.
and I actually did a well, technically it's a postgrad, but it still counts as an undergrad degree. I did dentistry.
Oh, no way. Were you ever thinking you were going to be a dentist or a scientist?
All my A levels were science related, so I knew I was going to incorporate them in some way. The dentistry thing sort of happened. I mean, it takes a long time for it to sort of happen, but yeah,
Oh, gosh, as I smile and you see my teeth.
you should see mine. They're not great, so I'm not passing judgment on anyone.
I'm an
Plus,
American.
I'm not working in the field anymore, so I don't have to look at
All
anything.
right. And they're only stained by whiskey and tea and stuff like that. Good stuff to drink.
It's an educated smile.
Great. So you started going to the bars. If you don't mind, what
I mean,
years are we talking about here?
trying to do the maths in my head here. I mean, I did work in bars as a student as well. I wouldn't say it's anything near the level of where you would probably find you and I at. And everything I made was probably something with soda, something with vodka, tequila shots. But I did used to go to bars after like my shifts instead of studying, so I got to see that side of it as well. I don't think it's something I would do personally because it takes a lot of willpower and people skills. But yeah,
Oh, now, why were you doing that? Was it an interest, or you just thought, "Oh, I'm going to make some money while I'm at uni"?
I think it was a bit of both. I think it also shows that I probably didn't like my degree that much either. So yeah, I was just doing that. It was fun. I would recommend it to everyone. It might be a bit different now. But yeah, it was great. I enjoyed it. I mean, we got fired very quickly as well, but yeah,
So, what kind of drinks were you making then? Did you have a favorite
just
or easiest one to
like
make?
to make beers. That was my favorite thing to.
The beer cocktail.
It was very much that stereotype of everything comes out of the same gun. It was very real and true.
All right.
And we used to have some people that wanted cocktails, and even if I didn't know how to make them, I wouldn't. Someone else would do them, and they wouldn't want to do them either.
And,
I think you're getting a gauge of like the type of place I worked at, so like the level there.
but you liked it,
I liked it. I didn't like it for the drinks making. I just liked being there.
of course.
If I made like a really good drink, this is back in the day when Difford's wasn't a website. It didn't even have the big book. It was like the little ones. They all had all the advertisements in them as well. So they're like the very thin copies. So I used to get those issues, and I used to like try and make the drinks in there. So my home bar was actually very good at the time.
Ah, the home bar. So you went, was there a cocktail? Like, why were you making drinks at home? Just for your own interest or for other, like
For my own
guests or dinner
interest.
parties or?
I, I did it for like people that were coming to the house, but just for my own interest. I always loved going to cocktail bars, always.
And what did
So
you
it was
like
nice to
about
get
them?
some of the. It's mainly the hospitality.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna lie. It's the reason why we go back.
But even at that young
Someone
age, you
always.
felt it.
Yeah, I think so. I think there was an element of glamour to it. I mean, from just seeing in that level, you don't know what's happening behind, right? So, but like it was when it's very good hospitality, it's very hard not to want to go again.
No, I totally understand. I mean, I used to live in New York right after university, and part of the fun was going to cocktail bars. Getting a first martini, or even I was in the age of fuzzy navels and bad tequila
Right.
drinks, but it was still quite glamorous even when you were ordering the fuzzy navel.
I'm still waiting for someone to make a mixology version of that here. Like a completely clarified.
Yeah,
Like, why has no one done
yeah,
that?
peach and orange. It goes well.
You need to tell people to try and
I,
craft that one up.
yeah, sure. I think they would laugh me out of the con if I said, "Could I have a fuzzy navel, please?"
Maybe in their heads they would never do it to your
Yeah,
face. But
exactly. Exactly. That's true. They're too polite to laugh at me. But so you were coming to London. You decided to stay in London. What
mm,
were you working as a dentist then, or a scientist, and then being a journalist on the
yeah,
side?
yeah. So it didn't really. So I did started the Instagram because I was at all these bars anyway, and a lot of the people that I was talking to, or a lot of people I was socializing with at the time, I used to finish very late as well. So a lot of the people that I was talking to were people off shift that were in industry.
Mhm.
And you know how it's a very I'm trying to use the right word here. It's a very friendly atmosphere. So you always feel included, even if you're not like this as well, right? You always feel like you're part of it, even though you're not really doing anything. Like you're not working in a bar, you're not doing a shift. But it's especially when you see people in the right mood as well, you always feel very much part of it. I think that's another reason why you see so many very enthusiastic like cocktail drinkers. It's very easy to get into. So after that, I just took pictures of everything I had because I wanted to remember what I actually drank and what did it look like. And after that, I did the Instagram account. It got very good traction initially, and that's that. I wanted to take better pictures of drinks as well. Yeah, and apparently people cared about it. So yeah.
Oh, there's so much to unpack there. Okay, Sam. So was photography something that you had been interested in before, or was just taking pictures that sparked the interest?
Uh, yes. But originally all my photos were really bad because they were for me, and then I would see people that were taking photos as well, and I remember I still do this now, and I always criticize other people's photos if I think they're really bad. But then also my photos suck too. So I try to really improve them. But also I didn't want to. I did have a DSLR at some point, but I never used it. So I didn't want to be that person that had the massive camera and then also took really bad photos. So
Okay.
I wanted to take good photos on my phone, so people weren't expecting too much from it. Does that make sense?
No, it does.
But yeah,
So I guess when you got to London, this kind of I asked for a date, but Instagram was already around.
um, I think when I started, it was already around for a bit. I was still drinking in bars, but I didn't have the Instagram account then.
Did you look at anyone else's, or did you find any other drink Instagram that you studied or
In
said, okay, they're doing it right,
in
or was there nothing?
I Initially, I would say no because I didn't know anything about the app. So if I saw a photo, again, this is in very primitive stages. I didn't see like a username underneath. I just saw a photo and maybe some of the text underneath. My brain wouldn't connect with that. Obviously, a few years later, yes, and you see lots of like amazing content, like great photography, like really unique work, which there's loads of them. But yeah, initially no,
You were at the forefront.
I wouldn't say that either.
I think so.
I
You have a
definitely wouldn't
huge
say that.
following. Yeah. And
There were many much bigger accounts before me and like after me. So I my favorite thing actually is when people confuse me for much bigger accounts. So I was in an event once and the bar manager said "Oh, your cocktails for you, right?" And I'm like, "Uh, no." Well, part of me wanted to say yes. Another one, Jonathan, right? Delightful
Mhm.
Drinks.
Yeah.
Um, we were at the same bar together. We both storied at the same time. And the bar that we were in, the bar manager went, So you're Jonathan, right? I'm like, no,
The other guy.
I'm the other guy that story. I'm the other account that story at the same time.
Well, you know what? Sometimes a coincidence is really just a coincidence. And so my blog is called A Lush Life Manual. And I called it that because I used to have, and I still do, a luxury travel blog called Best Bits Worldwide. And Akis, my partner, said, "Oh, that's like a Lush Life Manual once." And so when I started the podcast, it had a different name, but I decided to have a blog that was purely drinks related. And Akis, because I thought, okay, Lush, drinks too much and luxurious. That what a great name for a blog. So that's why I called it A Lush Life Manual. And I called my podcast Lush Life because of the Lush Life Manual. And then I was going to some events in the States, and people were like, "You're Lush Life, I know you." And I'm like, "I've never met this person." And I found out that there's a production company in the US that's drinks related called Lush Life. And no idea until then. And
Has it worked in your favor, or
I don't know. I think it's just people think that they know me because they've worked with the other people, especially
right,
Americans.
right.
And so I'm just like, they're like, "I know you." And because I have an awful memory, I'm like, "Yes, of course. Hi. It's so nice to see you again." Because I have a terrible memory for faces. And so I just go with it. And I have no idea because I'm too like a little embarrassed to ask.
I think people respect even if you don't remember them, even if they can see you don't remember them, that you're friendly about it. You're like, oh yeah, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, it always works.
Um,
So, I think you were one of the first people I met when I started 8 years ago or so, or 9 years ago.
I was gonna say before that, the time I really remember you is because obviously you're West London as well. Because you used to come into Public a lot. I remember asking Greg. I said she's very familiar. Who is she? And he's like, oh, Susan. She's great. She's got the blog. She's got the podcast. I'm like, oh,
It's public. I don't even remember that. Thank God for public. I don't know what I've done during lockdown. We would go on walks in Hyde Park and then come back and have a cocktail because they were serving them outside then. And
mm.
that was my lockdown.
Yeah. I think it helped with our sanity a lot. The fact that it had an outdoor
Yes.
area as well. I still have. I think it's probably got a very much expired by now. I still have one of their martinis in my freezer.
Oh my gosh, no way. You mean when they were doing takeaway?
The brown butter martini.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have some of that in the freezer.
Oh my goodness. So, well, what I was asking you before we had a little bit of internet trouble, you were already around when I started, and I was just wondering if you've seen things change, during the time that you've been, photographing and doing your Instagram and writing for newspapers.
Both yes and no. I don't. When always people always ask me as well, what are the trends? Like what's this year's trends? I don't think they really change that much. There's always a bingo card that you always sort of make fun of what the trends are going to be, and I think they always stay the same within the years. In terms of what I've seen how things operate, yeah, very much so. Everything needs a sort of big name attached to it now if you really want the funding. Everything has to be a guest shift, which I understand. It's both the same, and also we go through phases as well, right? So we went through that period in the 2000s where everything was going to be milk and honey, that sort of speakeasy classic style. Then we went through that phase where everything was, nightjar. Everything was like very opulent, very ostentatious, sort of like serves. And I think we're still in this phase now. Everything has to be very, very minimalistic. So everything is just like beautiful ice, beautiful glassware, but like no garnish. And I think these things fluctuate. They come and go. I'm not sure what the next one's going to be. Do you know what the next trend is going to be?
I have no idea what the next trend is. I'm not I don't think that I am a good trend picker as well. Yes, and while I'm in the trend, I kind of laugh and can see it. Oreo is one of my favorite bars in the world, if not my favorite bar. And
I still haven't been to their. They still have the sites, the temporary one.
yeah, they do. Yeah, yeah. I was just
How is it?
it's great because it's the same wallpaper. It's the
Okay.
one before the prelude to the new Oreo. So
I need to go.
it's obviously much smaller and it's on the ground floor, but you do get a hint of it. But I do remember, getting a cocktail with almost as much food on top of it as, the cocktail and going, oh, look, like it's like the whole meal on top of it. Talk about opulent. And then it all of a sudden shifting to, wait, my cocktail is now like a matte sky blue color or an apricot color. And like every drink was some, minimalist color, like ice blue or green or, I think, yes, as you said, I think we're still in a little bit of that phase. And I'm hoping that the trend of smaller cocktails, because I always said I want to go to a cocktail bar and try lots of different cocktails. But I know this sounds funny, but I'm not I can't drink a lot. I can get sick very,
Hmm.
very easily. So I say I'm a 2-drink broad. That's about it. Because I had a neighbor who he used to call his wife the 2-drink broad. He was a little bit of a gangster. I feel I'm the same thing. 2 drinks, that's about it. So I miss out on trying a lot of stuff. So I'm hoping that, I was just at Archive and Myth, and they have some smaller ones that you can try. And I was like, that is so perfect for me. It is great.
Is that the Rene Martini that I've been seeing?
That is yes, I believe that is
Okay.
one of the smaller ones.
I need to go, by the way. So thank you for mentioning
So
that.
I think there may be a trend of smaller cocktails because Coupette had it, but even though Coupette started a while ago, of
I think it's great. I agree with
yeah.
you. As long as the pricing is under control. Like for example, I love martinis, but I can't really drink a full one. I'd much rather have sort of a half serve, so I can try it. I can have the experience, and it's going to get warm anyway.
Uh-huh.
Than you just drinking a sort of warm puddle of alcohol.
No, I'm with you.
I used to be able to drink a lot more, but
I do too.
I think for something,
Yeah, me too. I did too.
but yeah, I think it's a great idea. You are seeing a lot more. I agree with you. Even I was up in Manchester last week, and there was a whole section. I think it was Blinker Bar. There was a whole section dedicated to just like the micro sets, like mini margarita, mini martini.
Uh-huh.
It's a great idea. Get to try it.
Yeah, I think Hendrix really started that because I interviewed Sasha, who was at that time the Hendrix brand ambassador, and she sent me these tiny little teeny martini glasses.
They are very frail, by the way, so hold on to those very dearly.
I haven't broken
I,
mine
I
yet.
had a set. I had four, and there's only one remaining one.
Oh, well, you'll bring yours, and I have only one, so we
Okay,
can we can
there you go.
drink them together. Um, Now, saying we were talking about Oriole and it being one of just personally, I was there with my family. Unfortunately, my father died a few years ago, but the last bar that we went to together was Oriole. There was a 1940s singer. It was all perfect, and it was a wonderful
I
time.
used to love that bar, by the way, the original
Yeah,
site.
me too.
Yeah, I
Do
agree.
you feel that towards any other bars?
Yeah,
I'm sure you do.
uh,
That was a dumb question. What I mean is,
yeah. I mean,
are there
is
any that stick out in your mind? I don't want to say favorite. I hate when people say, what's your favorite bar? Because there's so many and it all depends on your experience. But, if you had to choose a few around the world, what would you say were some of your favorite experiences?
around the world. That's
All right, we'll
this
start
is
with
gonna be
London.
long. London. Well, I'm gonna have to, 'cause as you very well said that can't really say favorite, but just in my head. And also we're West London, so we're gonna have to show support to the
Yep.
area. I'm gonna say, even though I haven't actually been in a very long time, but I always enjoy going to Amaro Bar.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite bars. And I don't think it's a unique opinion when I'm saying this. You see both regular customers, punters, and industry, they all love that place, and it's very easy to see why. They got beautiful drinks as well.
Fabulous.
I mean, we were talking about Public. I used to be there a lot as well. Obviously, they've gone through, quite a few changes since then. Where else? In London? I don't know. There's so many places. I mean, I love Bar Termini. It's just very easy to go during the day, get a coffee, get a little Negroni.
Yes, they had mini too. That was one of the first minis. I think that is the first place I had a Negroni ever, was when they opened.
That was your first
It was my
Negroni?
first Negroni. I am not embarrassed to say.
Okay,
I know it only opened not that long ago. Well, I don't know. What is it? 10, 11 years ago, maybe?
something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
I was a little scared of the Negroni because I'm not a huge gin drinker. But I love them now.
Right. Um, just there's so many places like opposite the Swift, which is always like an institution there. I'm trying to think of more interesting places that
They're all good.
they're all so
I
good,
know
right?
we're
That's
so
the problem.
lucky with London. We are lucky.
Um,
Now, when you were making cocktails at home in your home bar when you
mhm.
were younger, or you're still young, but when earlier in your life. Was there one cocktail that you tried to master, or you just wanted to try all of them? Was there one that you just kept going back to, or was it the
I used to
idea?
make a lot of Sazeracs when I was younger,
Oh, that is very
and
sophisticated.
all the and it was just I got a big kick out of making those, and obviously brandy or using rye whiskey or just using bourbon or doing the splits, or some people do third one three like a third, which I wouldn't do personally, but I used to do that. And I used to order it in bars a lot.
Did you do the 2 glass thing?
No,
No.
I used to leave the absinthe in
All right.
because it's just a waste of absinthe, and I wasn't going to put it back in the bottle.
No.
You got to think about the overhead.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I used to drink that a lot. What else? Manhattans, martinis, just very easy but quite potent stirred drinks usually.
Well, for someone who's at university, the idea of drinking those drinks is pretty sophisticated. I mean, it was, well, when I was growing up, it was like beer. I mean, I went to an American university. I don't even think anyone thought about cocktails then. During university, I mean. After university in New York or when I was living in England, then it was a whole different story. But, so it really interests me when someone has started thinking about those cocktails so young. Is it that because of your working in a bar or getting the Difford's guides?
I'm actually not sure. This is actually a very good question. I need to think about this. I don't know. I'm not a massive beer drinker. That's one thing. It's not so much the flavor. I don't have the capacity to drink too many beers, and I wasn't really into wine at the time. I'm a little bit more now. And I don't know, just you see those glasses, especially when you're younger, right? You go to like a
Yeah,
nice looking bar, you see those glasses. There is definitely an element of glamour to it. So
definitely. Maybe you saw Mad Men then, or
I hadn't
uh,
actually, but there was a lot of people in our social circle that would think they were Don Dapper ordering old fashioned.
love it.
So
Were your family my family didn't really. My dad didn't drink that much. My mom would have a glass of wine for dinner. So my grandmother though, and grandfather owned bars. I didn't know my grandfather that
okay,
well, but my grandmother was always a Dewar's and soda. My step grandfather was Scotch and soda. So they were drinking that. But was that something that in your family, they'd make a martini at 5 o'clock?
no, not really. I mean, my mother likes very very dry white wine, and my dad doesn't drink that much, because he's sensible. But no, I don't think so.
My dad too. He was sensible.
He does like to drink, but it's something that he will very much limit himself.
Oh,
I think he's more of a cognac drinker,
ah, nice.
so he gets the same gift every year. The bottle's not been open.
I have some cognac I could give him too, with the
Uh,
100 billion bottles I have in the back.
yeah, you got a nice bottle set
Oh,
up back
this
there.
isn't even half of it. Are you kidding? It's in a different place.
S I have one of those tables. You can't see it from here, but it's
I,
behind me. I've got one of those tables which it just opens up. It's just basically a big box which has like a top on the top.
I
So
love it. I love it. So, favorite bars we discussed. How do you foresee this? I know we're not talking trends or anything, but you're busy doing the Instagram. I'm busy doing the podcasting and London cocktail tours and things like that. Uh, I think it's a box that just will keep being open as opposed to all of a sudden no one's going to drink anymore, like kind of they did in the, maybe people say the 70s. People were still drinking in the 70s. They were just drinking different things. How,
I
yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you. But I have noticed even sort of post COVID, and obviously with everything being so expensive, a lot of bars that used to be very busy, there's no one in there
Oh,
now. And even I remember one time one of the owners was telling me as well. He said everyone's skint, no one wants to come out. If they do, they'll buy like one drink. The people that were here on like a sort of 5 drink dates, they're coming in for one, then they're just going home. I think it's getting a bit better, but you still really see that in places that maybe have more regular clientele. Maybe not so much the ultra luxury places where people can be expensed and people don't really mind how much they're spending. But I think neighborhood bars are getting really throttled.
yeah, yeah. Shout out to everyone who has a neighborhood bar. Go and frequent it.
Absolutely, you'll miss it when it's
I
gone.
always say at the end, if you want to live a lush life, go order a drink at your cocktail bar that's closest.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
so important to. I'm glad you brought that up, because so many people were hurt during COVID. I mean, what did you do with yourself during that time?
Um, I was going slightly mad. That was the first one. I think I didn't shave for about 4 months. Just a sign of internal protest. But I was okay. You could see a lot of people were and unfortunately, it was the people that complained the least got hurt the most, and the people that were the most vocal actually lost nothing. But that's another discussion. But you can see like the bars are really struggling. I tried to do my bit, just even if it's just buying a ready-to-drink bottle, which a lot of them I didn't really drink either. But it's just you want to give them money, right?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult time for
Yeah,
everyone.
I bought T-shirts, and as soon as there was cocktail delivery, I was like,
Yeah.
"Bring it on!"
And also, like, it wasn't just charity. It was very exciting to like,
Uh,
get delivery from your favorite bar. So
yes, I remember Fabrice Lemon. He's like, "I'm doing it now. Here, it's a drinks drop," and he cycled over with a couple drinks, during that
yeah,
time.
there was some very good drinks in that as well. They did world class as well. Or am I?
I can't
Um,
remember, but yes, there were some great cocktails. In fact, the other day I was like, I could order a drink right now when I was home.
I went through my fridge maybe 6 months ago, and I still have things that have sort of been left over from that period, but they've not been opened. But you just know they're spoiled, and I was like,
The public one, right?
and there's a lot more. There's a lot more.
No, I pretty much
Felt kind of
drank
bad throwing
everything.
some of them away.
I know Akis
So
would look at me. Akis is not a huge drinker, and he'd look at me at 2 o'clock and go, "It's time for a beer,"
yeah,
and I'd be like, "Okay, let's start making the martinis and mojitos and stuff."
brings people closer together.
Yeah, and tragically, I was lucky enough to go to Milk and Honey the last night.
Yeah, I was there
You
too.
know, I don't remember. I don't
Um,
remember.
I was on the ground floor.
I was downstairs because I
Okay.
had just started doing London cocktail tours,
Okay.
and the second we started at Swift, the second stop was Milk and Honey. And Pierre, we used to make stuff in little sharing glasses. They'd get one a small London Calling and a small penicillin, and then we
Nice.
tell the story. So I was quite close to Pierre, and it was
I love that guy.
yeah, yeah. And so I was
He's
there.
doing well. You seen him recently?
I haven't no, but we keep in
He's
touch
he's gr-
over Instagram.
well, you've seen
Yeah,
photos of
yeah,
him then.
he's doing
Like
really well.
he's grown that hair
Yeah.
long and brand ambassador out, with the little slick back. I remember the last day in Milk and Honey as well. There's still very tight restrictions at the time, but everyone was like, "Well, there's gonna be a lock-in, right?" And no,
No,
no, there
no,
isn't. No, but there. Oh, right. There's not gonna be one. There
there
was
was
no
no
lock.
lock-in. No, no.
Disappointing.
I know it.
What a great
I,
place. I always feel a little bit sad every time I pass that
I
building.
know, and now it's
And
called House Party.
it's actually a
It is
venue. Is
venue,
it?
just yes, because now I don't want to say where I start my London cocktail tours because it's a surprise, but it's very close to Milk and
Okay, nice,
Honey,
nice, nice.
and I always point it out as being one of the places that really kicked off the cocktail revolution, renaissance, whatever you want to call it.
The older I get, the more I wish that place was still
Uh-huh.
open. Um, so how many stops is your cocktail tour now?
It's 4.
They're all Central London, or you
It's just
have a
Soho
sort
right
of
now, but we're going to be doing a
okay,
West London one. But this is about you,
nice,
not
amazing.
me.
Oh, I'm
So
just
I,
curious.
I'll tell you everything later. Or you can look on the website, londoncocktailtours.com. There.
London Cocktail Talks.com.
Yeah.
I'll have a look.
So what do you see as your future? Do you think you will just, I know it's a really, really tough question. Do you think,
Um,
you're riding high on Instagram, being a drinks
you said
writer?
that, not me.
What?
But I said you said that, not me. But well, most of the focus I'm doing right now is the bartenders edit. We don't have a website yet because I'm the one that's doing the website. So it's the project that I've been working on for the last. We started in 2022. And this is basically what I'm putting most of my time into. It's the equivalent of, say, if you're, I wouldn't say London because you know your way around London, but if you go to a new city, well, actually, a very good example is the thing you're doing for Venice. I'm assuming it's going to have a lot of good features of bars that people might not have heard about,
Yes, that's
and
correct.
it won't be places that if you Google like cocktails in Venice, what you recommended and what's going to be on there is going to be slightly different. I'm assuming, right?
Oh, some of them will be the same, but there will be
Okay.
reasons why I recommend them.
Okay. Yes. So what we did was we did we did a city list, so sort of city guide, but it's based on the recommendations of full-time industry in the city that we're doing it in. So the one that we did in London at the beginning, it was the equivalent of if I go to a bar, let's say I go to Amaro bar because we mentioned them already, and if I ask Alessandro, can you recommend me 5 other places? And when they write the bars on the receipt, go see these guys, go see these guys, go see these guys. So it's a recommendation of someone that actually works behind the bar. They're not asking you, they're not asking me, they're asking people that work in the city. So we did that, but sort of mass data. The first year we did it, it was about 60-ish bartenders, full-time bartenders in London. And it was very much people that do the minimum amount of shifts in the bar. You couldn't vote for yourself. You couldn't vote for any sister venues. And you couldn't be an owner as well. So there was no self-interest in it. When we did that in London, we had the opportunity to do it in Singapore as well. So we done it for the second year, I think, in Singapore. So I went back in April. So we did the list there twice. We also did it in Edinburgh last year as well. And we did it in Milan during their bar show. So mixology experience. So my main focus right now is to do London. We're going to do London for the third time in September. I'm already getting the votes. We're almost all the way there. It's 100 bartenders' votes.
And so when you ask one of your 100 bartenders, is it just bars in London or around the world?
Yeah.
No,
it's just bars in London. So people in the city voting for places in the city.
So you said your website isn't up yet. How do people find these?
It's not. We have an Instagram.
Ah.
And it is The Bartenders Edit.
Okay. I got it.
The website will be up. It's gone through various stages and various non-stages. But the most active thing is the Instagram.
And I'm sorry, did you say this? How many bars are on your London one?
So the London is 20.
Okay.
It's 20, and we have a couple of extra categories. So we have, I'm not going to say the word best. We have most recommended bartender in London and most recommended cocktail in London.
Okay.
So last year when we did it, the most recommended bartender was the current world-class winner, Daniela.
Right.
And there was a cocktail from Equal Parts that got the most recommended cocktail. So, but that all subjects to change this year.
So it's bar, bartender, and cocktail.
Yes. So the bars is the main one. So it's about 20 there, and we just have a couple of extra categories in there.
Okay. Any others that I'm missing? Any other category?
Well, I'm going to add 1 or 2 more for London this year, but across the other cities, we only have those 2 extra ones. It should be something quite easy to vote for and not be too complicated. So I'm very aware of not making too many categories for it.
And when does the new London one come out so people can find out?
End of September.
End of September? I can't wait to see. I'm not even going to ask you what those new categories are because I want it to be a surprise for everyone to go see it and check it out so they can find them out.
And we'll keep you updated of the very secret location that we have in it.
Okay. All right, great. And so Singapore and Milan.
Singapore, Milan, Edinburgh.
And Edinburgh, right.
So for London one, I think as long as people still care about it, it's something that we can do sort of every year. The scene changes enough.
Yeah.
The other cities are very subjective. So I want to do a couple more. We're already planning a couple more cities in Asia, 1 more in Europe, and we're still trying to do America, but we'll see.
Oh, yeah, America's a big place.
It's a long process, and you really have to bother people to get those votes. That's the downside to it. The thing that makes it unique is the most difficult bit.
And where did why did you decide to start doing it?
Well, it's an idea that I've had for a while anyway, but it was sort of every time I go to so for example, the other cities that we do the lists in, I find those lists very fascinating. It's not like the London one where I sort of know already what the bars are. It's very interesting to see where the bartenders recommend as opposed to what you would see recommended if you do a search for it.
Of course. I love that.
And the results are very different.
I'm sure it
is.
I will
say. I think that the way that the trends are going, it's sort of straightening out a little bit. But you can see what places that are having a big push. You can kind of see it on Bartenders Edit first. Then you sort of see it because they're doing a great job. I'm not saying that because we showcase these, but you can sort of see where it gets picked up and then how it sort of snowballs into like bigger and better things after that.
I think it's a great idea. I think yes, because I'm one who always asks a bartender, where should I go for a drink? So now there's a place where people can find that,
Updated
especially if
every
they
year.
are
Well,
coming
London.
to London or they're going to Edinburgh. They already know. And once that website gets up, I assure you it will be visited a lot.
Thank you. I'm trying my hardest and my biggest Squarespace skills to get that up. So
I'm sure.
difficult,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, I have been built for 4 or 5 websites. I understand, but I've never done Squarespace, so I can't help you there.
I need something very idiot-proof for me to use. So
Once you get it, it comes naturally. It does. Well, I think that sounds very exciting,
thank you.
and I can't wait to hear where the next European destination is as well.
We're working on it. It's somewhere that I really want to do, but we haven't finalized anything yet.
Okay, so you will keep us posted.
Definitely. I will be insufferable and tell everyone about it.
Okay. Well, I always ask people if they could have a drink anywhere, what would they drink and where would it be? So I think it's a tough one, I know. And people always go,
Right now?
yeah, right now.
So if we're talking about right now, I want a Miami Vice at Satan's Whiskers. No, I'm gonna I'm gonna cancel that. I want a honey mango daiquiri at Satan's Whiskers.
Okay. Because I was going to say,
And if
you've got to tell us what's in the Miami Vice because no one would know. But the honey,
I think it's I think they had it on recently as well. So they buy every now and then. I think Dan buys a box of honey mangoes from the market, so they're quite expensive. And I think each mango gives about 2 serves. Just like because we drink so much spirits and distillates and all that stuff. It's just in essence what a cocktail is. Just like fresh fruits mixed in something cold. It's amazing. And if I wasn't in the UK, I'd really want a frozen banana daiquiri from Rita's Tiki Room in
oh,
Milan.
yeah.
It's so good.
Oh, yes. And it's really hot right now, so I could use those too. They sound like great choices. Listen, I really appreciate you coming on the show
Thank you.
and chatting with me.
No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank
Me
you so
too.
much.
And now you're a Lush Lifer. You're part of the family.
Nice.
Yes. You laugh about that, but I mean it. So thank you very much. You were before too, but
I'm very
now
honored.
now it's official. So have a
Thank you so
great
much.
night, and I supposedly I'm going to see you later, which makes it even more exciting.
Amazing. Yeah, that'll be great.
And we'll see you around.
See you soon. Cheers.
Cheers.